And I guess if you have a smartphone or a computer, I think McDonald's has internet now, don't they? If you're sitting in their parking lot.
They do.
And how about Starbucks? Where's it located up there?
In Princeton, I mean, it's a 20-minute drive, but they got Wi-Fi as well.
Yeah,
I know
so
that.
like I said, Starbucks and Lowe's. Lowe's also
Yeah.
has internet. I've used theirs a lot here at Claypool Hill, sitting in their parking lot. But anyway, guys, on the news this morning, of course, we went over 1,000 deaths with the virus, and of course, New York has over half the cases, I think, in our country. And I heard people are moving out of New York. DJ, some of them are trying to come to Florida, and I think they're going to probably quarantine them if they're from New York when they get off the airplane. So that's the status of that. Uh, we don't have any cases. I don't think you have any cases around that area, do you? Uh, Now I know there's cases down in Florida. There was a Bluefield College that had a situation, but they don't live here. They probably went home. And West Virginia now has 15 or 20 cases. They were the last state to get any case. So, in other words, you are a little more lucky. And I was talking to one of the professors at Bluefield State, and she has a relative that makes moonshine. She said he couldn't make moonshine fast enough, it was selling out. So I guess people are using moonshine for disinfectant, or
Probably.
maybe their throat, disinfect their throat
Hmm.
as it goes down. Well, guys, I'm going to
Cool.
look at chapter 15 with you again. Uh, my PowerPoint presentation is yesterday on Moodle, but today, if you did have a book, if you don't, of course, you can listen. I'm on page 722. Now, in chapter 15, okay, now who else do we have join this year? Is
It's
that,
me.
oh,
But
how did you get up there, DJ? Yeah.
I found headphones and everything.
Okay,
My
great.
screen's foggy because there's a crack right in between my camera.
Yeah, you're just a little bit more foggy, but now Fraser's coming in clear as whatever.
Oh,
Clear as if he was sitting in the classroom. But
you using your computer tray?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, I don't have my computer down here. I didn't bring it. I've been using my dad's for assignments.
okay, now you use your cell phone right now, DJ?
Yeah.
It's not bad for a cell phone. Not bad at all. Uh, okay, guys. But this thing is going to work good if I could get everybody to join us. But anyway, chapter 15. Uh, Remember, the last test, chapter 13 and 14, was investing in corporate stock. I mean, corporation selling stock, one. And then, of course, corporation selling bonds, two. And this is corporations buying into other corporations. The stock market is taking a big, big tumble. Uh, some of us folks that work at Bluefield State, our retirement's in the stock market. And we've taken anywhere from a 20 to a 40% hit. Uh, I know one professor said he'd lost $200,000. So anyway, that's a paper gain, and I'm sure this professor's going to live okay if he lost all of his retirement. So maybe everybody's in that same kind of shape. Anyway, we're going to invest in other companies, and the first way to invest is just to buy bonds. On page 720, I guess 23, if you buy bonds, you just debit your investment and you credit cash. But now here, I suppose you bought bonds in between dates. Now remember, if bonds are issued, they're gonna, like on January 1st, and they pay maybe dividends on June the 30th. Here, they pay, bonds pay interest, stock pays dividends. But if they pay interest twice a year, well, you may buy those bonds in March. they've already got 3 months interest on it. And you got to buy that interest. You'll get it back when you get the cash payment. So here, that's what you're doing. You're debiting accounts receivable for $135. That's interest you bought that's already been made on the bonds before you bought them. All right, then on page 724, when you do get an interest payment, 6 months, you debit cash, and ordinary you credit interest revenue for the whole amount. But here we bought interest, so we credit interest receivable, and we got back really our $135 that we had bought the interest with. And the next entry on page 724 is an adjusting entry. My months, 3 months, or whatever, but on December 31st, if those bonds have accrued interest on them, you simply debit interest receivable and credit interest revenue. And then, of course, when you get your cash, you debit cash, credit interest revenue for, let's say, 1 month, January, and 5 months interest receivable for the last 5 months of the year. So that's all there is to bonds, and then you sell them, and you either sell a gain or a loss, and you're investing in corporation bonds, so they're still listed at 1,000, and here you're going to sell these bonds for a discount. You paid $18,000 for them. You're only going to get 98% back, so that's $17,640. So you debit your cash and credit your investment, and you debit loss. All right. Now that's just interest on bonds. It works almost as interest on notes receivable. All right, now that's bond investment. Now we move up to stock investment. On page 725, if you can see a book. See, I don't have Elmo at home with me, and I cannot even show you a picture of my book. If I did, I would just have to hold it up, and then you can see it, but that's not the best case scenario here. But anyway, on page 725, we're going to look at the cost method. Now, the cost method is less than 20% ownership. If you own less than 20% of the company, you just debit investment, credit cash. And when you get a dividend, you debit cash and credit dividend revenue. And then when you sell this investment, you debit cash and credit investment. But you may sell it for more or less, so you're going to have a gain or a loss. Now that is the cost method. The other important method is on page 727, purchase of stock. All right. Here we have between 20 and 50% ownership. That means we have an influence. We have a vote. And we purchase that stock, we still debit investment, credit cash, just like the cost method. All right. But here is what's different on page 720. When the business has income, percent of it, record 40% of their income as a debit to investment and a credit to income of Flanders Corporation. All right, and then we record the dividend. We debit cash, credit investment. Now, under the cost method, we debit cash and we credit dividend revenue. Okay, now I'm going to try to bring up my notepad for a minute and see if it works. See, we're doing 3 things here, and we've got notepad running, we've got the recorder running, and we've got Hangout Meet running. Alright, but if I could use my notepad a minute, I would draw a T account for this company, or any problem you have, whether it says to draw a T or not. Alright, when we bought this investment, we paid $350,000. Well, that's a in this investment account. Okay, then when this company had income, we got 40% of it. It looks like we got 42,000, another debit. Now our investment in this company has increased. Now when they give us money back, which is the dividend, and we debit cash and credit investment for 18,000. That reduces our investment in this company. All right, now if we looked at debits and credits, this could be Ford Motors, General Motors, Microsoft, what have you. We have 392,000 minus 18,000. Now that's how much you have in that stock when you go to sell it. So at the bottom of page 728, you have sale of your stock, and it says you have 374,000 balance.